Right now, light is bouncing off this screen, hitting your retina and triggering a cascade of electrical signals that race up your optic nerve. Your brain then takes those signals and invents an image. What you're seeing isn't reality. It's a reconstruction, a model your brain assembles from incomplete data filled with guesses, predictions, and evolutionary shortcuts. Here's what makes that genuinely strange. 8 billion other people are running the same hallucination, and they all agree on where the chairs are. How is that even possible? In 1981, neuropsychologist Roger Sperry won the Nobel Prize for a discovery that should have rewritten everything we believe about the mind. He found that if you sever the thick bundle of fibers connecting the brain's two hemispheres, two separate conscious personalities emerge inside the same skull, with different preferences, different fears, and sometimes contradictory impulses. One hand, quite literally, would undo what the other was doing. That means your feeling of being one unified person is already a story your brain is telling you. Then, in 2008, neuroscientists at the Max Planck Institute tracked something even more unsettling. Using fMRI, they could predict a person's decision up to 10 seconds before that person became aware of making it. The neural cascade had already fired. The choice you consciously experienced was reconstructed after the fact, a highlight reel your brain edited together to give you the sensation of control. Every second you're awake, your brain is processing roughly 11 million bits of sensory data. It consciously delivers about 50. The other 10,999,950? Silently discarded, averaged, or filled in with guesswork based on what you've seen before. You're not watching reality. You're watching a predictive model of reality, continuously updated and corrected. And understanding this isn't just philosophically interesting. It has direct consequences for why you get stuck in cognitive loops, why two people can witness the same event and remember it completely differently, and why your mental state physically changes what you perceive. Cognitive scientist Donald Hoffman spent years building a mathematical model of how perception evolved. His conclusion, published in peer-reviewed journals and tested with evolutionary game theory simulations, is one of the most radical in modern science. Organisms that perceive reality accurately go extinct faster than organisms that perceive it usefully. Evolution doesn't reward truth, it rewards survival, which means your perceptual system wasn't designed to show you what's actually there. It was designed to show you what's relevant to keeping you alive long enough to reproduce. Hoffman calls this the interface theory of perception. Think of it like this. When you move a file to the trash on your computer, you see a small blue folder sliding into a bin. But there's no blue folder. There's no bin. There are magnetic states on spinning metal, interpreted by software, rendered as icons for your convenience. The interface hides the underlying machinery, because if it showed you the actual data, you couldn't function. Your brain does the same thing with physical reality. It renders a user-friendly interface so you can navigate without being overwhelmed by raw quantum information. The neural structure running this interface has a name, the Default Mode Network, or DMN. When researchers ask people to think about themselves, their memories, their relationships, their future, the DMN activates like a switchboard. It's the biological architecture of what we experience as I. But here's what's strange. When experienced meditators enter deep states, DMN activity drops sharply, sometimes to near zero, and the reports coming back aren't of blankness or sleep. People describe the clearest, most vivid awareness of their lives. The filter goes quiet, and something remains. Which brings us to the question you've been circling. If every brain constructs its own private rendering of reality, why do yours and mine match? The answer lives in our shared hardware. Humans share nearly 99.9% of their genetic code, which means we share nearly identical sensory equipment and neural architecture. We run the same biological codec, feed the same raw data through the same decoder, and you get the same output. A snake running a reptilian codec optimized for heat signatures decodes the same room into an entirely different image.
Philosopher Bernardo Kastrup offers a framework that pulls this together. Imagine a vast ocean. Now imagine vortices, whirlpools forming on its surface. Each whirlpool has a distinct shape, a distinct spin, a distinct center. But ask what it's made of, and the answer is simple: just water. The same water as every other whirlpool, the same water as the ocean itself. In Kastrup's model, individual human consciousness works like this. Each of us is a localized pattern in a single underlying field of awareness. We appear separate from the outside, but the stuff we're made of is the same stuff. We share a reality not because matter is solid, but because we're variations of the same process, reading from the same source. Knowing that your brain constructs reality rather than records it isn't just an interesting fact to file away. It's a cognitive tool if you know how to use it. Protocol 1. Run the "is this reality or prediction" check. When you feel certain about something, a person's intentions, the likely outcome of a situation, why someone reacted a particular way, pause. Ask, am I seeing what's actually there, or am I seeing what my brain predicted would be there? Neuroscientists call this predictive processing. Your brain fires predictions ahead of incoming data and only updates when the mismatch is large enough to register. Most of the time, it doesn't update. Most of the time, you're running on a mental model built from past experience, not from the present moment. Catching the difference, even once a day, retrains the system. Protocol 2. Treat conflict as a codec problem. The next time you and someone else see the same event and come away with irreconcilable accounts, resist the instinct to decide one of you is wrong. Both of you are reporting accurately from within your own rendering. Your cognitive histories, emotional states, and prior predictions shaped what each of you saw. Understanding this doesn't mean all interpretations are equal. It means getting to shared truth requires actively comparing what your respective interfaces are producing, not just asserting yours is clearer. Protocol 3. Quiet the filter deliberately. Research on the default mode network consistently shows that even brief, consistent meditation practice, as little as 10 to 15 minutes of focused attention daily, reduces DMN baseline activity over weeks. Reduced DMN noise correlates with decreased rumination, sharper situational awareness, and improved emotional regulation. You don't need to aim for ego dissolution. You just need to give the brain's prediction engine a short rest so it can recalibrate. Protocol 4. Audit your certainty. Your confidence in a belief is not evidence for that belief. It's evidence of how often your brain has run that particular prediction without error. High certainty often just means high repetition. The most useful question you can ask about any strong conviction is, what evidence would actually change this model? If nothing comes to mind, you're not perceiving, you're pattern matching on autopilot. We started with a question that sounds almost absurd. If every brain builds its own version of reality, why do we all end up in the same room? The answer isn't that reality is an illusion. The answer is stranger and more useful than that. Reality, as you experience it, is a model, a high-fidelity, evolutionarily optimized simulation your brain runs in real time, constrained by the shared biological hardware you inherited from 100,000 generations of survivors. The model is incredibly good enough that you can navigate rush hour traffic, read another person's expression, and catch a ball thrown at your face, but it is still a model, not a recording. And that gap between the model and what's actually happening is where most of your suffering lives, where your conflicts with other people live, where your outdated beliefs about yourself live. The science isn't telling you that nothing is real. It's telling you that you have far more influence over your experience of reality than you've been trained to believe. The filter can be adjusted, the predictions can be interrupted, the model can be updated. You are not a passive receiver of the world. You are the architect of it, working with the same raw material as everyone else, rendering something only you will ever see.
The question worth sitting with is, are you building something accurate or just something comfortable?